It's time for the latest edition of What's the Word, the radio broadcast that brings you news of our Area 1 community. I'm Army Staff Sergeant Crystal Crawford, and now here's the host of What's the Word, Mr. Frank Fischer of the USAG Red Cloud and Area 1 Public Affairs Office.
Thanks, Sergeant Crawford. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of What's the Word. We all know what it's like to walk into a store or office and end up feeling we did not get the kind of service we should have, or, on the other hand, feeling we got great service. Either way, giving the right service to customers is a very important thing, of course, for any community, and our U.S. military communities are no exception. The U.S. military knows that, and today we're going to tell you about something that gives you a way to tell the Army management here in Area 1 about the kind of service you got. It's a method of customer feedback that's known as making an ICE comment. ICE stands for Interactive Customer Evaluation. The program comes under the Office of the Secretary of Defense, so all the way from the top at the Pentagon. For us in Area 1, it allows you and me to rate the service we receive by submitting an ICE comment. You can do it online and fill out a digital ICE comment card, or you can do it in longhand with a paper ICE comment card. Here in Area 1, officials keep a close eye on these comments for what they show about the level of customer satisfaction. Generally, if you make a comment and ask to be contacted with a follow-up response, you'll hear back within 3 to 7 days. If you were so pleased with the service you got at this or that office, and you want the Area 1 leadership to know it, you can put in an ICE comment. If you were not at all pleased with the service and feel that you, as a community member, need to let the leadership know what's going on so they can fix things, there again, that's what an ICE comment is for. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, how can you really know that anybody with any power to fix things will know about your comment and take action? Today, we'll tell you all about that. And we'll tell you about the different ways you have of making a nice comment, either online or through the comment card, as I mentioned. Plus, we'll have some tips on what kinds of things are good to include in a nice comment. We'll hear all about those things from today's guest. He is Mr. Dean Toubant. He's with the U.S. Army Garrison Red Cloud and Area 1. He works in a branch of the garrison called PAIO. That stands for Plans, Analysis, and Integration Office. And Mr. Toubant is currently the acting director of PAIO. It's PAIO that maintains and monitors the ICE comment program here in Area 1. Mr. Toubant, first off, who in the Area 1 community can make an ICE comment?
Well, Frank, first I'd like to thank you for having me here. As for who can make ICE comments, any military person, civilian, local national, invited guest, visitor, anyone that uses our facilities here on base can make that ICE comment.
That's quite a broad category of people who can use the system. That's good.
Yes.
What tools or equipment or materials does a customer need to make an ICE comment?
Okay, there are various ways that the comment can be made. The first one is online. That's the standard way. The customer can also fill it out longhand, and if he's not comfortable with putting it in the box, he can fold it in half, and it gets mailed, directly to my office. Also, we've instituted another thing here. If you have a QR code reader on your smartphone, that QR code goes directly to that provider's ICE website, and that way you don't have to do any searching. It goes right to it. You make your comments right there.
Tell us about the comment card boxes. Where will people find those?
They should be in any of the MCOM service providers. The ICE comment card box should be, it's white and should be prominently displayed so it's easy to find a card, fill it out, and drop it right in that box there.
And let's take that term service providers and kind of translate that into some concrete examples. Are we talking about places like the exchange, the PX, the commissary?
No, the PX and the commissary do not participate in the ICE comment system. However, something like Gateway Club, Mitchell's, DPW, ID cards, ration cards, all kinds of places where you go to get a service provided to you.
And it sounds to me like, based on the examples you just gave, that these are garrison, Area 1 garrison entities that provide various services. Is that the case?
Correct.
So if you go into a place that's providing a service and that place is part of the U.S. Army Garrison Red Cloud and Area 1, that's where you'll find these white comment card boxes.
Yes, they are. Yes.
And to make just a quick question, we've got, I'll save this question for when we come back. We'll be back after the break.
We're back with What's the Word Hour, and here's Frank Fischer.
Thank you, Sergeant Crawford. Hello again, and today on What's the Word, we're talking about ICE comments. That's the system where you can write a comment that tells the leadership here in Area 1 about the quality of service you got when you went into an office or business here on post or otherwise had contact with them. We're talking about how to use it and whether it really gets results, and we'll hear some actual examples that'll show how it works and why it's a really good thing for you and the rest of our community. Telling us about it is today's guest, Mr. Dean Toubant, Acting Director of the Plans, Analysis, and Integration Office here in Area 1. In our previous segment, right after it, he mentioned to me that, in fact, these ICE comment cards that he was talking about are available. They're printed not only in English but in Korean.
Correct. And the Hangul versions are mainly at the golf courses where we have a high traffic of local nationals coming to visit our installation.
Right. So a lot of Korean-speaking people go to these places like the golf courses, and so if they would want to make a comment, they can grab one of those cards and they can read the card in their native language, in Korean.
Correct.
Mr. Toubant, do those making ICE comments have to identify themselves?
No, they do not. You can make the comment anonymous. You can put your name down if you want to be contacted, but you are not required to enter your name if you do not wish to.
Now, if somebody makes a comment and for whatever reasons chooses not to give his or her name, will the comment that they make be any less effective or get any less attention or action than if they had given their name?
No. It does not matter whether you put your name down or not. We take all comments seriously.
And here's a question that I think might be in the minds of a lot of people, and so it's very good to take a moment and look at that question, and that is, what assurance do community members have that an ICE comment will actually lead to the appropriate action being taken?
The comments are read at various levels within DOD, actually, but here in Area 1, in my office, I have two people that it's not their only job, but they review all comments daily to see what action may need to take place. And also the service provider managers. As soon as you make a comment online, they get an email that a comment's been made. And the MCOM standard is 3 days. And if you want to be contacted, they will contact you within 3 days to resolve the issue that you have expressed.
So let's see if I understand this, and then we can make sure that it's made clear for our listening audience. If, let's say, I were the manager of some office that provides some service, and we have kind of a counter service, and people come in, and we have staff, and they call people up to the counter and take care of their paperwork or whatever it is, and the person feels that for whatever reason, maybe the clerk did not give them the kind of courteous, attentive service that they should have had, or that the clerk didn't have the necessary tools or forms when those should have been available, and the person thinks, oh, you know, the leadership of the garrison needs to know about this so that they can take action to make sure that people in the community, if they do go to this particular office, will get the proper service. So they make that ICE comment, and if I'm understanding correctly, there's someone in your office who reviews all of the ICE comments that come in on a daily basis. So if I were the person who made that comment and I did it today, then today or tomorrow, somebody in your office will see it, but also it will be sent to the manager of that office. If I'm the manager, I would get that, and then it's my responsibility to say to myself, oh, well, I didn't know that was happening, but now thanks to this ICE comment I do, and I can go ahead and do what I need to fix that so that our office is giving the proper service. Is that a correct summary?
That is correct, and also the garrison commander receives all these comments too, so that way he's kept abreast of the Area 1 garrison services that are provided on what's going good and what needs improvement.
And does that mean that the garrison commander will actually see the individual comments as they were expressed, as they were written by the person who submitted it?
Yes, we cannot. Once you enter that comment, we cannot edit it. It stays as written.
Well, great. We'll be back after the break.
And I'll be right back with your weather, exchange rate, and gas prices. We're back with What's the Word Hour, and here's Frank Fischer.
Thanks, Sergeant Crawford. We're talking today about ICE comments, the system where you can write a comment that tells the leadership here in Area 1 about the quality of service you got when you had contact with services on post. Our guest is Mr. Dean Toubant, whose office maintains and monitors the ICE program here in Area 1. Mr. Toubant, what are some actual examples of ICE comments that got results for the community?
I would say probably the biggest one in the past year was we were receiving a lot of ICE negative comments about Mitchell's Club down at Camp Red Cloud. And due to that, MWR conducted Voice of the Customer, and they brought a panel of people in from military, civilians, GS, a bunch of it was a large panel, and it came out they retrained most of their staff. They changed the menu. They brought in new types of silverware, plates, and so those comments worked on adjusting how Mitchell's operates today.
That's quite an example and quite an impact. So do I understand that the fact that people made their comments through the ICE system provided a trigger for this corrective action by FMWR and the garrison?
Correct.
And tell us again, some of the good consequences of that were changes to the menu. And what were some of the other things?
Changes to the menu, additional training, or if you want to call it retraining of the staff to provide better service to the customer. Went from round plates to a triangular shaped plate. That was one of the recommendations that this panel made. And it made Mitchell's a better place to go to. So making your comments and providing suggestions on how to improve a service is looked at to see if we can do it that way.
And you had told me when we spoke last week recently about ICE comments, that ICE comments are not restricted to making complaints or calling attention to service that you think is not what it should be, but you can also use an ICE comment to make the management aware of something that you think was maybe very good service. Is that correct?
That is correct. Positive comments are also definitely welcome, because it also reinforces a service that we're providing to maintain that service. In this era of budget constraints, instead of reducing the service because we don't get comments, because you're pleased with it and you think that the ICE comment system is actually the ICE complaint system, let us know how we're doing. And it also affects the employees. If you name an employee by person, by name, and that way it lets their supervisors know that individual is providing a great service to you, the customer.
So if you go into a place and you've got, we'll just make up a name, PFC Smith. If PFC Smith is there and every time you've had to go into that office, she's there giving you courteous, professional, helpful, positive service with a smile. She processed your paperwork or whatever it is quickly, efficiently, professionally, and you want the leadership to know about this young soldier and what a good job she's doing, then you can fill out a nice comment and say, I went to such and such an office on such and such a date at such and such a time, and a soldier there, PFC Smith, gave me excellent service. She did this, 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 and this, and I think you should know about what a good job she's doing. You can do that too, is that right?
That is correct.
Let's talk about what kinds of ICE comments are helpful and what kinds are not. We've got about 1 minute left in this segment. What would you tell us about what's a helpful comment?
A helpful comment is one that is as detailed as possible. If you can give date, time, group on when a certain event happened, even the name of the person who provided the poor service or good service, that is all very helpful. Just making a comment of, I didn't like the service, that tells us really nothing. So you want to be as detailed as possible, and that helps us decide on how to improve the service provided to you, the customer.
So it's very important for a comment to be effective and to get good results. It's important that it be specific, the date, the time, and specifically what was good or what was not good.
Correct.
All right, well, we'll be back after the break.
We're back with What's the Word Hour, and here's Frank Fischer.
Thank you, Sergeant Crawford. Hello again. If you're just joining us, we've been talking today about making ICE comments. Those are comments you can write that tell the leadership here in Area 1 about the quality of service you got when you had contact with an office or other service provider on the installations here in Area 1. We've been hearing about it with today's guest, Mr. Dean Toubant, whose office maintains and monitors the ICE comment program in Area 1. Mr. Toubant, for supervisors, for managers, those in charge of offices, places of business, what do they have to do? What's their responsibility in relation to the ICE system?
They have many responsibilities. One is obviously monitoring their offices, their businesses, their place of businesses, but also once you make that comment and you want to be contacted, making sure that they contact you within 3 days. That is a big thing, and that's another reason why my office monitors the entire system. Is if it's coming up on 3 days, that those managers and supervisors start getting emails from my office saying, you got 24 hours to finish this up. To contact the customer, provide feedback, because once the customer makes that comment, you've got 3 days to answer it, and they have to go into the system and give a synopsis of what they've done to answer your comment.
Right, so the manager has to go into the system and put in writing what he or she has done to take care of whatever it was that was the subject of the ICE comment.
Correct.
Now, what if somebody did pay a complimented the service they got? Would the manager then just make an entry, spoke to PFC Smith and congratulated her on her good performance, or and planning to recognize her with a letter of commendation or something like that?
Yes, the managers also take those positive comments, especially when you provide a name of that person who provided you that service, and it helps build up over time so that that individual, whether it is a military person or a civilian worker, can be recognized in some manner.
Well, let's recap for our audience some of the things that you've told us in the earlier segments. First, that ICE comments are here in Area 1 can be made for the places of business here in Area 1. You can do it online. You can go online and make an ICE comment. By the way, you don't need to start an account. You don't have to worry about a username, a password. You just go to the site, the website, and you can use it to make your comment. Or if you want to do it in writing, you can do it. There are ICE comment card boxes in the different places. If you go to this or that office, you'll see that box, and you can fill out the card. You do not have to give your name. If you don't, for whatever reason, your comment will still get the same action, the same attention that it would if you used your name. But you don't have to give your name. These comments are reviewed daily. There is someone designated in one of the garrison offices, PAIO as it's known, who has the job of reviewing the comments every day. The garrison commander, the Area 1 commander, also sees the comments. And by the way, these comments are reviewed by people at DOD, the Department of Defense. The very comments that you write get seen word for word by the people whose job it is to review them, to read them at DOD in the United States. Don't think that the ICE comment is, as Mr. Tuban humorously pointed out, ICE, which stands for Interactive Customer Evaluation. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
That's what ICE stands for, Interactive Customer Evaluation, not Interactive Complaint Evaluation or Complaint System. So you can, by all means, use the ICE system to register a complaint, to call attention to what you think is not proper service or any other problem, but you're equally free to use it to compliment a service or a person on the service that you got when you went there. Well, I'm Frank Fischer of the Area 1 Public Affairs Office. I've been your host for What's the Word. My thanks to our guest, Mr. Dean Toubant. Handing back now to my What's the Word broadcast partner, AFN-KCDJ Army Staff Sergeant Crystal Crawford. Until next time, thank you for joining us. Here's Sergeant Crawford.
And as Mr. Fisher said, thanks for joining us with this edition of What's the Word, and I'll be right back with your weather exchange rate and gas prices.